Okay, we are on live. It's 3 minutes before start time. Is that too loud, Nina?
No, it's fine. Sounds
Are
good.
you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start in 2 minutes. We're just waiting on Alexandra is there wait with us already. We're waiting on April Griffin, and we might have a someone join us. Um Isaiah Haddon, who I met via Facebook post, not met in person, but I was able to learn about him because of a creative loafing article that just came out. He's 20 years old and he's running for a county commission seat in Hernando County, which I think is
Oh,
amazing.
wow.
He has a very inspiring story, very good story. So um he might drop in. He's working. He just texted me to inform me that he might be dropping in a couple of minutes. I just wanted to give him an opportunity to just introduce himself. He has just started I don't know how long ago he started the campaign, but just the article, I want to point out the article to the viewers and to the public so that they can find out about him. He's on the ballot for November 3rd. He's running in the general election against a Republican candidate, and he's going to donate $20,000 of his salary as a commissioner if he wins to help teachers with supplies and whatnot. 20,000. Huh? Is that impressive or what? And we're
Yeah.
still waiting for April Griffin. And today's topic that we're going to discuss is switching from one of the major parties, Republican, Democrat, to a no party affiliation, NPA, which you recently did, Nina, and so did I. I did. I was been wanting to do that for a while, and I spoke to you recently,
Right.
and you advised how incredibly easy it was, and I did it
Very
with it
easy.
like under like in a few minutes I did it, and I was like, I wanted to
Pinellas County. Yes.
in Pinellas County. I wanted to,
That's
yeah,
right.
and I heard
Yeah.
somebody did it also in Hillsborough, and it was incredibly easy. I wanted to pop a champagne bottle when I did. I felt free.
Really?
I sang "Free at Last," free
Wait,
at
you want
last.
to
Thank God
discuss
Almighty.
this now, or do you want to wait till April gets on? Come on, hold
You
on.
know what? It's 6 o'clock. We're gonna start. She said she would be on.
Yeah.
But so we're gonna go ahead and start, and I'm gonna unmute Alexander, and I wanna thank you for joining us, Alexander. I've been able to catch some of your live streams on your Facebook page, and you can go ahead. You were asking me before we went on live how your followers are able to see this broadcast. If you want to take a moment, we're still waiting for April, and all you have to do is go to you're on my friend list, so you can go to my post, because it should be running live on my post, on my page, on my timeline, and
I
just
see
hit
it. I see it.
share.
I just shared it. I just shared it on
Sweet.
mine from
That's
you.
all you have to do, so
Yeah.
that then your followers. So let's just go ahead and get started.
I'm gonna share this too while we're getting
Okay, go
started.
ahead, take a minute
Yeah.
or so, and
Volume
and
down.
I want to just go ahead and take a moment to tell those who are following now, who are watching this live stream, good evening. Thanks for joining us. This is going to be a really interesting, I believe, conversation with Democratic former candidate. She didn't make the runoff, but she's supporting somebody that's not a member of her party. That's going to be a part of the discussion tonight, and it's going to be an interesting one, I believe. But go ahead and share with your friends, family, those of you who know people that are interested in politics, becoming better informed with local politics, just politics in general. I think this is going to be a really interesting discussion with Nina. And go ahead and you pick up, Nina, when I have something to tend to, which is a call right now. I'm going to mute myself and just go ahead and
Sure. Hello, everyone. It's awesome to be here, and Alexandra, awesome to have you on as well. This is really exciting. I believe there's a shift that's taking place in politics, and sometimes it takes some forerunners, those who are willing to, not go with the status quo.
Okay, hi April. Look at
What do you
you.
think
You look
about
now
that? There
all
she is,
sexy.
April.
All sexy. Are we gonna
Hi.
Hi, April. Good to see you. How are you?
Hi. Sorry I'm late. I've been helping my oldest son move out of the house. My husband and I are empty nesters.
Oh, wow.
29 years.
Whoa. Good for you. Congrats. Very
Yeah.
good.
So if you see a glow,
Yeah.
I do. And not only do I see a glow, but look what I'm gonna do for you
Uh-oh.
to celebrate.
He's gonna play some music. Watch.
For you, just for you. This is for April Sexy Griffin.
oh God.
Happy ever after. What about the plans that ended in disaster?
And I'm not gonna play it too long because I don't want Facebook to
Nice.
ding me as any type
Yeah,
of
then you have to
copyright
pull it
violation.
down.
Pink, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to appropriate your creative work song. We just wanted to play just a little snippet of that amazing song. I love Pink. Okay, so what about us, April? Tell us about other than the fact that you're celebrating because now you're an empty nester. What's going on? Tell us. You have an announcement to make to the public.
Well, in accordance with the show this evening, I registered as an NPA last week. I am no longer a Democrat. I changed my party affiliation to NPA.
Wow.
Wow.
Gonna be at the NPA. So me too, and
Like
Nina, you did as well.
Yes. Yes, I did a while ago. Yes, I did. As well.
Why? Why did you do that, Nina? Tell us. Because when I met you, you were a hardcore. I was a Republican all
Right.
my life. I grew up in Miami, Hialeah. My parents came from Cuba, and there's a very loyal voting bloc to the Republicans, and that's now something that is even in making headlines. It did when Governor DeSantis won. Some seem to think that he won because the strong voting bloc of the Cubans out in South Florida,
Mhm.
just loyal Republicans. I kind of question sometimes why, but I decided to go ahead, and I feel like I'm disappointed with both parties. Okay, and there are issues that I agree with one party, and then there are issues that I agree with the other. But you were hardcore Republican when we
Democrat
or Democrat.
first. Yes, that's right. Very much
Tell us a
involved.
little bit about your transition and your
Very-
evolution to where
yeah.
you're now.
You know, everybody has the right to evolve. So let's just make that clear. You know, some people think that because you're one party at one moment, you have to stay that one party. And that's all about becoming an NPA. We all are all independent thinkers. And we have a right to make choices. Would you not agree, ladies? So when I was a Democrat, I was very much involved in the party, but I went through some experiences, as I'm sure Republicans have as well, where there's that in-party fighting and in-party support or not support. And so you're very much beholden to the party as to who's going to support you, where they're going to throw their money, who they're going to throw their money behind. And the infighting in party politics, I just got tired of it. I don't, as my political views have shifted according to the political environment, I did not want to be typecasted as, because I'm a Democrat, I must believe this. So what I actually did was change from Democrat to Republican, which probably a lot of people don't know, but I guess they'll know now. And then I decided, why do I want to be any party? Why do I want to be beholden to any party? And I don't think, to be honest, there's anybody that can tell you, and those that are very much involved, I mean, running for a particular office from a particular party, they're going to tell you politics is very much involved in the process. And I want to be a person for the people. You know, if I choose to run in the future, a candidate for the people, I'm sure April can testify to that. I had very much bipartisan appeal when I ran for office for the school board. Both parties, they had to be secret about it. A lot of the Republicans would say, I want to vote for you, but they had to say that behind the scenes. I think that's silly. I really do. And I think it is.
And I supported you. I was a Republican and I supported you. You were a Democrat.
Well, people support people who run for office because they like them. They like what they stand for, not necessarily the party. Now, there are some people who are very much party focused, but when it really comes down to it, if you have a relational connection with them, even if they're part of a specific party and you're opposite, they'll whisper to you, okay, I'll vote for you. And they won't want other people to know. But why do that? This is the land of the free. This is liberty, the land of liberty and justice and freedom for all. We should have the right to vote for whomever we want. We shouldn't be demonized for it. And we shouldn't be typecast because we decide to choose a certain party and we don't follow the party lines. How many of you all can agree, even if you were one party, I'm sure you wouldn't agree with every single
That's
thing
right.
that the party line puts down. And I'm done. I'm done
And
with
not only that,
having to
Nina,
say, because
not
I'm
only
part of
that,
this party, I have to believe their platform.
not only that, that even the values and principles that they say that they're for, I see both parties violate those values, and hypocritically so.
That's very much so.
Both of them do it.
And the
you know
higher
what?
up you go, the more you see that, the more you see that the loyalty really is, the loyalty kind of goes by the wind. It depends upon, yes.
April.
It's about power
and
and money. It's about power and money.
I'm gonna get to Alexandra and April because they have a lot to. You do too.
I
Nina.
can't wait to hear. I can't wait to hear. But I can tell you, I have personal experience where top party leaders, I'm talking about federal candidates, have either said behind my back, have actually helped the opposite party behind my back, okay, and then say another thing in front to the people who are voting, to their grassroots. I want to make it clear. I think it's time to just expose party politics. Let's just be honest. Let's expose it for what it really is. And I know there are good people in various different parties. So I'm not speaking about anybody in particular. I'm speaking about the system. The system needs to change.
Okay, Janine Cohen, hey all. Hey Janine, thanks for tuning in. Kimberly DeFalco, also hi April. Hope Henry is doing well. I think she's reported earlier today on her social media that he is doing well. It's super cute, that little doggy. And also Nina wants to say hi to, or Kim wants to say hi to you, Nina, and to Alexandra. Okay, so let's talk about that, April. I think that all three of you are I'm just gonna stay quiet because I've never run for office and never plan to. I know what my calling is from above, and I'm living out my purpose, and it feels awesome. So, and running for a political position, office is not a bad thing. We need good people to be able to do that. But I think the message for tonight is that there are good people to be found in both parties. I think that's the message. But I think the three of you, in having run for office and having been Democrats at one point, and you're remaining in the Democratic Party, Alexandra, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You've been disappointed by your party because you feel your party has not supported you, has not, or has betrayed you. So, Alexandra, let's start with you. A little while, not too long ago, on your social media, you had something to say about that, your party, and being judgmental of you because you've now thrown your support behind someone that is affiliated to the Republican Party, and you feel like, well, I'm a Democrat, you all are Democrats, and I didn't feel like I was supported. Now you're like judging me because I want to support a good candidate, somebody that I vetted that I feel is a good candidate for the position that he's running from. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically, you just said it in a whole nutshell, that I went for what to me was the better candidate. I mean, and I know I said this, that it is a nonpartisan race. I know that a lot of people are like, well, it doesn't matter, but it is a nonpartisan race. And so I feel very strong outside of the fact that it's nonpartisan, that I saw it as nonpartisan, but he happened to be a Republican, and I went by what I saw as a person. Some Democrats did get mad at me, but I thought of it like this: well, who supported me while I was in the primary? So it was like I didn't really owe anybody. Couldn't anybody ask me for a favor, So it wasn't. So I literally took me as a voter, the fact that it was nonpartisan. I looked at the person as a whole and said, this is the person that I like when it comes to me having kids in the public school system currently right now, who I would want over District 3. And so I stand behind that regardless of party affiliation. I know that a lot of people were just very outraged. And for me, it wasn't like that. I just saw that that person was better candidate for that position from what I had seen thus far.
Okay, great. April, weigh in, please. And we are taking live call-ins. If anybody wants to call in, the call-in number is 813-221. What is that? Where's that?
Can you hear me?
That's odd. The call-in number is 813-221-9700.
So I have been a loyal, active Democrat for 30 years, approximately 3 decades of my life. Was the president of the Young Democrats, was the vice chair of the party, have supported a lot of Democrats over the years in getting into their respective offices. I served nonpartisan for a number of years as a school board member, but I held up what was the core of what was then the Democratic platform. And see, it's evolving, and Nina talked about that earlier, that it's evolving. What I found was that I didn't fit the mold, and I've never really fit a mold ever in my whole life.
Preach it, April. Preach it.
And I always considered that a positive thing, because I could like make my way around the school and all the different cliques. I could kind of snap into the cliques, and I saw the value in all of the different people that were there. But I did become a Democrat because I read the platform in its entirety. I read the Republican platform in its entirety, and I made a decision then at that stage in my life. And I'm not Democrat enough for a lot of people, because I grew up with a family that, a lot of my family members put food on the table with hunting. And so when you talk about gun control, let's talk about reasonable gun control. And I'm not saying that the loopholes don't need to be closed and things like that. But I didn't quite fit, because I shoot, I do it for competition. I hunt, I am just a little bit weird that I didn't fit in any particular box. And, I'm someone who believes that you should love who you want to love, and it's not my place to judge people for that. I just, it was not a decision that I made lightly. It was something that I've been thinking about for a long time, because I do believe that both parties are broken. And I've said it time and time again that, what I've seen up close and personal is a circular firing squad. And we have people who are good people that, because they're not popular, let's just say, within that clique of very small clique, that they are kind of told, sit down, be quiet, and wait your turn. Well, I'm in my 50s. I'm tired of waiting on my turn.
You know what? And now that you mentioned that, here's the other thing that I want to. I know that I'm a believer. I have faith in Christ. So does Nina. I don't speak for Alexandra. I know what her faith is. But here's the thing: Jesus is not a Republican or a Democrat. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble.
Very true.
You want to appropriate God to your party. He doesn't belong to Democrats or to Republicans. He belongs to righteous people. And there are righteous people in both parties.
That's true.
Okay? So let's get that straight and not twisted. And we have Isaiah Haddon. He is in the waiting room, and I'm going to be bringing him in shortly, because this is an impressive young man. Do you want to do that now? Do you guys want to continue on?
You can bring it now. Bring him in now.
The call-in number is 813-221-9700. We're taking live call-ins, and we are going to. Hi, Isaiah. How are you? Unmute
Hi,
yourself.
guys. How are you guys all doing?
Good.
We're doing good. Oh, what a handsome chap you are, sir.
Oh, thank you. My mom tells me all the time.
Okay, so yesterday, I have a colleague, Gretchen Cawthorne, who she posted the article that Creative Loafing just published about your candidacy, And I think you're an incredibly impressive young man. You're 20 years old. You're running it for a commission seat in Hernando County, and the Republicans have a lead there. There's more Republicans, I think, like 13% more than Democrats. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. I wanted you to come on, introduce yourself to the public. So, because you're going to be on the ballot November 3rd, you're running as a Democratic candidate against a Republican. And so I wanted you to kind of talk a little bit about reference any of the points in the article. And then I want to have you back on soon in the next couple of days, if possible, so that we can have like a full conversation with you about your candidacy. I want to make mention that you're offering, if you win, to give 20,000 of your salary should you win to teachers. So with that, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for having me. So, I mean, yes, Creative Loading posted the article about us. It was very, very exciting to read. It's getting used to reading about myself on publications, but I find it very entertaining. So yes, I am a 20-year-old running for county commissioner in Hernando County, which is pretty much unheard of. Our supervisor of elections has said that as far as she has been in office, which has been since about 2008, I'm the youngest person who has ever ran, to her knowledge, for any office in Hernando. Hernando is very, very rich in history, especially in Brooksville. There's been a lot of tension as well.
There's been a lot of tension. Did you say tension?
Yes, a lot of tension.
Racial tension?
I would say currently it's gotten a lot better, but in the past, I'm talking about like Brooksville's roots. It's definitely rooted in some pretty heavy subject stuff.
Okay, I did in the article. It says that 2 years ago, you're 20. 2 years ago, when you were 18, you had a conversation with a friend that was very it influenced you. It impacted you because what's the quote that your friend said right before you took seriously the decision to become really involved to try to make a difference? Tell us about that.
So I mean, the quote he said to us was, "If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything, and that we need to stand for something." This is something that's been really, really important with me with a lot of stuff that I've carried through my life after that moment. When he had told it to me, it was after we had attended a rally that our school had held, a walkout for in honor of the victims of the Parkland shooting. So it was a very, very difficult time. I mean, even in high school, I remember the way I actually found out that Parkland had occurred was someone made a very, very, very dark joke about what had happened the day afterwards. So it was really disappointing for my peers and for the people around me for that. That would be in the way that I found out. But me and Trevor, who was my friend who had this conversation with me, I mean, Trevor's half Chinese American, half Caucasian. I'm half African American, half Caucasian. So we were just sitting there and just talking and coming to this realization because I felt as if we were screaming to the sky a lot with what we did. But he put it in the words like elegantly that we were standing up for something, and even if no one was to hear us, we ourselves heard ourselves say it, and how impactful that should be for us to go on what we believe in ourselves. And obviously, this is something that really, really, really stuck with me. So even that it caused me to get really involved in politics and start running for office as well.
You're incredibly impressive. Tell us about. I know that the article references that you had part in organizing, being the leader. You're looked upon as a leader. You organized a peace walk after having been impressed by some of the protests that had occurred in Tampa, and so then you went ahead and you organized a peace walk after, I believe, George Floyd, and it made headlines because there were a ton of counter protesters. The article says that even a man wielding a machete was arrested or tased by law enforcement. There were a lot of people that were opposed to you and what you were trying to do under the banner of peace, and they had some real profanities to utter, such as "white is right" and a word that I will not repeat here. but that has a long history of it's a derogatory term towards black people. So tell us about that. You had part in doing that, but you also had a group of older citizens who are in support of you and open to peaceful dialogue with respect to what's happening in our country with race relations. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was funny. We actually organized the entire event within 4 days, and it was a very, very stressful 4 days. Um, it was a lot of me reaching out because in the beginning it started out as just me. And I'm exactly not the person to go walking down the streets by myself. So I was like, I guess I better find some friends and stuff like that. So I started out by reaching to some of my fellow church members, reached out to some friends of friends, getting everyone we knew. And even at one point, my friend's dad is an officer in Orlando County. We reached out to him as well. We actually planned some of the things in, alongside him, mostly because there was a lot of resistance from a lot of citizens in Brooksville. Within hearing that this event was going on, a Facebook group called Event Fernando was created, garnered over 2,000 people in that very, very short time. And going through the comments of that was very, honestly, just discouraging and disheartening to see what people had to think of what was going on. And there was a lot of talk about running us over, and there was even incidents where our county commissioner used it to poke his gun store that he owns and citizens to make sure they stock up in preparation for the protests should they want to attend. So there was a lot of opposition, but it was through the community that we managed to speak out to that really made the success of it. My friend who's an officer, we sat down every day leading up to it, ourselves to make sure that there was no violence, while also making sure that we were able to do our protests and do so peacefully. My members of my church, we had to figure out ways to establish ourselves amongst everyone else and make sure everyone knows who was a leader. It was funny, we actually were thinking about giving everyone clipboards so that everyone would take us a little bit more seriously. And we actually ended up just wearing red vests that worked very phenomenally and making sure that everyone was organized and knew what we were doing and what was going on. We, at the end of it, we had this beautiful little ceremony that we did where we passed out flowers before we marched, before we started our speeches, and at the end, everyone put their signs and the flowers on the steps of the courthouse. After our speeches, we actually had some dialogue with some of the people there that were in protest of what we were doing. It was actually astonishing how many of them came up to me and said that they agreed with what we were doing, what we were saying, and that they hope that we do something again, because if we did, they would stand with us this time. And we had a very beautiful dialogue with some of our officers about what was going on in the world and what we just did. And a lot of them were talking to us about how some of the things that we brought up, they just never even considered or thought of, and that they in fact were moved by what we did as well. So overall, I couldn't have asked for a better event. I mean, there were some tense moments, and obviously some of the counter protesters had some very choice words to say. But overall, just out of what we did and of the 150 people that went there and learned something about the county that they're in and about the people standing next to them.
All right. Well, Isaiah, thanks for stopping in and telling us a little bit about yourself. Tell us where the public can go look and learn a little bit more about your platform, your candidacy. Do you have anywhere online that you want to let them know to go visit?
So if you'd like to learn more about our stances and our issues that we're diving into, IsaiahFernando.com is our website. It's ISAIAHFOR Fernando.com. On there, there's issues page. There's even a community info page.
Wait, Isaiah for Hernando?
Yes.
.com?
.com.
Okay. Well, then I want to have you back so that you could just be the broadcast. Okay, so here we go. It's IsaiahForHernando.com for those of you who are interested in learning more about Isaiah. For those of you who are in Hernando, who vote in Hernando, know anyone who votes in Hernando, thanks for stopping in. You're a very inspirational young man. I hope that the newer generation gets the fire that you have, and gets involved and tries to make a change, and not just argue on social media, but actually takes their time to do something productive like you. You are it appears to be a born leader, sir. Uh, Congratulations, and I want to have you back soon.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you guys and your words.
He has a verse on his social media page, Isaiah Haddon, and it's John 14:27. And for those of you out there that are listening that are registered Republicans, yes, Democrats can love Jesus too, and are Christian too, and
Yes,
vice
yes.
versa. John 14, verse 27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. That's a great verse, Isaiah. Have a great evening, and hope to see you back soon.
Have a good evening, guys.
Bye. That's awesome. Bye.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
I like
Okay,
that.
so I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself, and you all can carry on we have 30 minutes remaining, and we want to tell those who are
I want
viewing.
to.
The call-in number is 813-221-9700. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll field the calls, and I'm gonna mute myself and be quiet, and then I'll let you all, wonderful women, continue this conversation.
Awesome. I want to read this article really quick, and maybe you ladies also have had a chance to do some research, but this was specifically written by Palm Coast Observer, and it was in May of this year, right before the finalization for the various different offices. NPA surge, voters registering as NPA, no party affiliation, have increased dramatically in Florida, to the point where there's a prediction that NPAs could outnumber Republicans after another 2 election cycles. The surge began in 1994 when there was an influx of people moving into Florida from the northeast of the United States. Since over 2010, 5 million people have registered to vote in Florida. 38% are NPA. By comparison, 33% are Democrats, 29% are Republicans. Demographically speaking, 56 of the new voters are white, 21 Hispanic, and 13 Black. Millennials tend to register as NPAs. And also, there's a prediction that millennial turnout will surge from around 35% previously to around 45% this year. Those are some facts, ladies. What do you think about that?
Well, I've been watching the trend here in Hillsborough County. I mean, so goes Hillsborough. I mean, the way that Hillsborough goes, so goes the rest of the nation. And I've been watching that trend for quite some time here. I think that what keeps a lot of people in the state of Florida in a one of the parties is that we are in a closed primary state, which means that you can't vote for someone who's not in your party unless someone else from the other party doesn't get into the race. So it's can be manipulated very easily just by having somebody register as an NPA in there. If there's no, they can even be in a party and register with no party affiliation if they change their party in time. So there's all kinds of manipulation that can take place there. And I've just gotten to a place where, I see those numbers. I know I've been described as independent in thought and collaborative in my work. And that's the way that I want to continue working, and people over party, because I can't get on board with everything in either party. And what I see happening are the fringes of each party taking over. And so a lot of our decisions as a whole are being made by people who have, some of them, some very extreme views one way or the other. And I'm not okay with that.
I totally agree with that. I'd like to see, I think.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think that.
Go ahead, Alexandra.
Alexandra, go ahead.
Can you hear? Okay, well, she's looking at rejoining us.
It went out a little bit.
Good. Can you hear it now?
I can hear you, Nina.
Okay, great. Go ahead. What comment were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that, I've learned a lot just by running as well. This, like April said, this kind of clicky thing was really disturbing to me, for me to run, it was really about the issues and the children and the educational system. And so it's just kind of shown me another side that I wasn't very pleased about. As a Democrat, I'm here for the views. This is why I went along with the party. But I was born with the party from my own mom. But as April said, going into another side, running a candidacy, I was a little disappointed, I must say. No one reached out. I didn't hear from anybody. And then the moment I endorsed someone that was not in the party, it went crazy. It just went crazy. But I'm like, no one supported me. No one contacted me. I didn't even know that they, contact people. I'm just finding out stuff now that I, made my voice heard by endorsing someone. So I just want to tag on what April was saying about what she, about seeing different sides of the moment that you run. And I'm just still kind of shocked by, that it's not about the person and just your views and who we need in those seats. It's more about the clickiness than it is about what's best for those seats.
I have to say something. I'm sorry. I know I vowed to not open my mouth anymore, but it's hard because of what Alexandra just said. It's interesting to me that you're getting some pushback for supporting as a Democrat, and we're talking about Hillsborough, all right? Because regionally, the parties themselves have their own politics, even though it's the same party, but nationally. But it's interesting to me because we have popular Republicans like Chad Chronister that are supported by the Democratic Party in Hillsborough. And we have right now, Doug Belden, was a Republican, was supported by the Democratic Party. So I don't understand, what are they selective in who can break the rule that you're not supposed to support somebody from the other party? Is it a selection? Do they pick and choose when that can happen?
I think it's I'm going to say, I think it's about power. I think it's about control. And I think it's about looking ahead and seeing, well, if that person wins office, what connections will I have to persuade that person to do this or that according to my agenda? And that's the issue that you have. So you've got to look at this from a broader perspective, because ultimately it's like this. If I support you, then I'm connected to you when you're in office, then I'm going to have your ear for the things, for policy issues and things like that. And almost, depending on how much money is back behind that, it's kind of like control where, okay, well, we may not support you financially if you don't vote a certain way. So then you're asking, well, who's really in control here? Is it the person who's running for office, or is it the people behind the person that's running for office? And that I have a problem with.
Yeah.
There's an establishment period. It is called the establishment. It is not the Democratic establishment. It is not the Republican establishment. It is the establishment. And the establishment is made up of all of the same people. They go to the same parties when we can go to parties, and we're not.
That's very true, April.
They all, and it comes down to this. I keep doing this. It's all about the Benjamins. It's all about the Benjamins and who can give contracts to who, and it's all about the money. And when you talked, Haiti, about the support in the Democratic Party for some Republicans, that, at the last Kennedy King dinner, Doug Belden, a Republican, and Chad Chronister were two of the largest donors at the Kennedy King dinner, and they had their name up and their picture up, and were giving them thanks for the financial support. But they were two of the largest donors at the Kennedy King dinner, which is the largest fundraiser that the Democrats have. So, it's all about the money. It's all about the relationships, the power. as Nina spoke about too. But money and power are there.
But here's the thing: we need money. Money's needed, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
So if somebody has a lot of money, but they have a lot of integrity and they're good people and they want to be benevolent with donations to the right candidates or causes. I went to the Kennedy King dinner as a Republican one time, and I had to hear a lot of Republican bashing, and it was good. It was okay food, and it was entertaining. It was good. It was okay food. It was entertaining to watch a little bit of the hypocrisy, which I'm not going to comment on tonight. I happen to like Chad Chronister. I do. But now that we've mentioned Doug Belden, here's the other little point that I want to touch upon. That it is so entertaining and enjoyable to watch the hypocrisy of Democrats and Democrats in Hillsborough who talk all the time about what a misogynistic piece of blank Trump is. But wow, was there such huge support for Doug Belden, who in 2006 went and grabbed a woman's boobies without her permission and denied it until he was caught, busted. Jeff Brown represented, who I happen to know, who's a colleague of mine, represented the woman that this happened to. And then ultimately, Doug Belden went and said, "Yup, okay, my bad. Shouldn't have done that." But no one says anything about that. That doesn't come to haunt him years later now. And the Democratic women of Hillsborough who take such umbrage at Trump being such a bad boy, but they don't say anything about Doug. That's hypocrisy, folks. That's hypocrisy. Why does that happen?
That goes along any lines. In other words,
For sure.
anybody should be held accountable. This is one of the reasons why I love the show, Katie, because regardless of party or non-party, everyone should be held accountable in terms of integrity and how they present themselves, especially when they're supposed to be representing the people. So I agree, and I believe as a nonpartisan candidate, then you're held responsible to your own platform, what you stated, and what you're going to set forth. And if a person really likes you and wants to support you, boom. Then
So
they
if
support
they
you.
really like the male candidate, it's okay if he touches boobies without permission. If they really like him.
Right. That's right.
But if they don't like him, like Trump, then no, that's wrong.
Mhm.
That's why I don't want to be either a party. I don't want to be affiliated with either party. And you know what? I hope to God that there is a movement where people start doing an exodus of both parties. I'm not going to look down upon anybody that wants to remain in their party because I stayed there for a while, even though there years ago, ask Nina. Nina's a witness of this. Years ago, I wanted to switch and become no party affiliation. Then I feel free. I feel free. I can do whatever I want. No one tells me you can support, not support. I do whatever I want. That's freedom. That's this country. But I hope to God and I pray to God that because people are already starting to get tired of the hypocrisy, the divisiveness, and the nonsense.
Right.
And I pray to God that they start doing an exodus of both parties and the majority's NPA soon. And you know what? With the monies, we're going to have to come up with creative ways. And the people, think about it. You can even give small sums of money and do grassroots. And people that play it smart and are strategic start building up large war chests to support. Like this young man, he already has $11,000, okay, in contributions. And you know what? Let's help him. Let's help them start busting up the corrupt cliques or the hypocritical cliques. Let's start doing that. That's a good for you, Alexandra. You want to support the Republican? Good for you. I'll support whoever I want. And you know what? There's people that sometimes say, I'm a Republican. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's what you're saying because it's strategic in the particular race that I think that's the feedback is you, April. I'm going to momentarily mute you. They think they do it for strategic reasons. That's like Charlie Chris, and I have nothing against Charlie Chris. He's quite the politician. I gotta say, one time I called him and he freaking called me back on his cell, and I was like, "Ooh, I like him." I was a Republican, he's a Democrat, and he was like calling me on the phone and telling, trying to see about what I was calling about. So that's why he's in office so long, because he's got that little special gold touch that he has, that he's so personable. Good for him. But you know what?
He also went. You know how he went too. Also from Republican, and he
Yup, to
went to
independent.
independent. Then from independent to Democrat. I mean, he made that step. It was strategic, and when he was running for office, you know.
But people do that sometimes. They switch because they say, if I'm this, they'll calculate and strategize and look at the area where they're running in. Where is there more blue than red? Maybe I should be blue.
But why
And
should we have to do that though?
I
Why
know. Why
can't we
do you
just
have to
be?
switch? I
Why can't
would
we
need.
just be nonpartisan, and then whoever wants to vote for us will vote for us? That's the
Well,
issue.
and that's the message we're sending out today. That's why I took out of we all took an hour. You have some, yeah, April. I don't know. We'll figure that out.
So
Time.
the machine. So this is the thing. There's a machine that used to be part. So you when you were part of the party, you would have a machine that got behind you and helped you. They were held to bylaws. And in the primary, they couldn't get involved. They didn't get involved. And then whoever won the primary, then that's the person that the party got behind and supported. Unfortunately, that's not the way it goes anymore now, because people are getting engaged in the primary process. The leadership says that they're not, but behind the scenes they are. And this is
right.
all over the place. It's not in one particular county over another. It's happening all over the place. So it's just there's some more hypocrisy in that regard too. So as a nonpartisan candidate, Alexandra, it's funny that you told me that you said that nobody contacted you while you were running as a Democrat, but then if you endorse or give your support to a Republican, then they're calling you. It's like people had no problem calling me and encouraging me into battles and encouraging me into fights when it had to do with defending the Democratic platform. And I did that. But then when it comes time to vote for the officers in the organization a couple years ago, and this was kind of a thorn in some people's sides, I was for the first time told, no, you can't vote because you're a nonpartisan candidate. Oh, wow. And so even as a nonpartisan candidate within the party, as a Democrat, they were trying to take away certain rights from me. And what got under my skin with that was that here, this is around the time that we were fighting for voter restoration with. So here's supposedly the party that's fighting for that. And they're telling, 4, 5, 6, we're like 7 nonpartisan candidates that they were saying to us, no, you can't vote in this election, even though we had in the past. They thought they knew who we were going to vote for, not that person to be the state committee person or whatever position it was. So, it's a lot of manipulation of the bylaws and the rules, and I'm over that. I'm just over that. People over party. People
That's
over
right.
party. Because
and we have to vet based on integrity. Listen, none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect, and I have a safe group of people. Nina, do you ever call me and kind of turn my ear or pull me by the ear and say, "What are you doing?"
Doing as in, yeah, like what are you saying?
Like chastising me in private, like, hey,
we've had some conversations,
right? And so none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. Where the word says, "Judge not, that thou be not judged." We have to judge. Okay, we can't go to either extreme. You can't be condemning. Okay, listen, God loves Doug. He does. He's a man. He's not perfect. He doesn't walk on water. Neither of us do. But we have to hold ourselves accountable.
Yes.
We have to hold ourselves, and we have to hold public officials accountable. When you're doing wrong, we get to say, hey, what is that?
Yep.
Okay. But
it's funny, there's news coming out right now, and I cannot tell you, I've had at least 7, 8, 9 conversations this week where people say, I wish that would have come out during the election. It did. I told people and nobody cared.
They
I
didn't
No, but
mean,
you know what? It did come out before the election. It did.
it did.
It did come out before the election. The probable cause finding happened after the election, but prior to it, listen, I read the article, and there's something that's another point that I want to touch upon. We have to listen. This is how I want to carry myself always. I want to search for truth, and I want to be fair. And we can't, just because this is another thing that both parties do that's disappointing. It's almost like they're intellectually dishonest because they jump on something when they're on the party that they're not a member of does it, but then they give a pass to somebody that does it in their party.
Correct.
That's wrong.
Right.
There's
Right.
due process. You got to wait. When there's allegations sometimes that are motivated, the agenda is to demonize or to taint the image, reputation of someone to have a political win. So we have to wait. Before the election, there was already reports that was coming down the pike.
Mhm.
And then I remember reading it and thinking, well, you do have to wait for the hearing and the full process to take place and conclude. But I mean, even then, you read that there were emails. And I thought, wow, if there's emails saying what the news report is saying, it says, that's not good. That's not the topic of tonight. But again, the topic is, if we have to, whether they're blue, red, purple, whatever color, don't be deceived. Just because, don't judge or vote or support somebody because of the banner that they are running under.
I
Okay,
almost
it
think
could
it'll
be.
be, think about
Yeah.
this, Haiti. I almost think it'll be better too if people are not under a particular party, then people really would have to search them out to see what their platform is and not assume that because they're a Democrat or Republican that they believe a certain way. And like I said before, that's not usually the case. And if it is, it may be someone who's just purporting to believe such and such, but behind the scenes actually believes something else. That is a lack of integrity that I do not like. But right now, as of May, the numbers were 4.85 million Republicans, 5.12 million Democrats, and 3.75 million NPAs, non-party affiliates.
In
That's
Florida.
in Florida. So you
Wow.
look at that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why they're saying in a couple election cycles, bipartisan affiliates could pass the Republicans in terms of their voter identification. So I'm telling you, this is a trend, and this is going to happen. More and more people are going to want to be independent in their thought process, especially as folks are seeing all the division. I can tell you, I have gone door to door for a candidate and have spoken to people, and they have said, I'm tired of the divisiveness. Why can't people, even if they don't agree, just sit down and talk, even if they don't agree on the issues? Like, for example, if Alexandra and I know each other, and April and I know each other, and we all get elected to office, and let's say we're all in the state house, because we know each other, we're going to sit down and talk, even if we don't agree, and let's see if we can get to a position where the bottom line is it's for the people. What we're doing is to help the people. And most people
Yes.
want that. They're not
Right.
out there on the fringes saying, let's just blow up the country. I mean, those people, we can't even have conversations with those people.
You know
You
what?
know?
My mom is hardcore Republican, and she loves her some Diane Hart. Diane Hart is a Democrat in Hillsborough. She loves that Diane Hart. She's like, I'd vote for her if I was there. I support good Democrats. So,
Right.
it's just foolish to
It
just
is.
vote down the ballot. It's just irresponsible, I think, civically. As a citizen, I think that's
Right.
irresponsible for some of the reasons that we're saying tonight.
And if you see
This
that
is what I want
someone's
to
better
ask
for
Nina.
the,
And Alexander, I'm going to let you right after. I just want to ask this to Nina. Nina, what's that going to do when there's a large majority of NPAs? How then are the both parties going to try to communicate their message to them without really knowing? How do I appeal to them? Isn't that going to be fun?
That is going to be so much fun because how do you position your flyers? How do you position your platform? My advice would be position your platform and your flyers on the things that you believe are going to help the people. And those that support you and agree with your platform, they'll come behind you and support you. It's just that simple.
Okay, Alexandra, it's all you and April for the remaining 8 minutes. It's all both of you. You start,
I was
Alexandra.
just gonna say, when you were just saying about your mom and that she like Diane Hart, and I said, when you're going out to vote, when people take the time to go out to vote, they don't go out to vote because of a clique. They don't go out to vote necessarily for the party. They go out to vote to find out what's going to be beneficial to them, what's going to help them with jobs or, society or children. And so that is how we should all take it. Yes, I'm a Democrat, but if I saw in a nonpartisan race, I keep saying that, I know that, that this person was a better suited for the position when it comes to what I need to matter for my children or, the school system or wherever that we're talking about. I think that we have to go with that. We cannot forget that, we're voting for a certain reason, not particularly just for that person. Oh, you might be a nice person, but what do you truly stand for? Are you going to get the job done? Do you have the tenacity? Do you have passion? Are you really here for a purpose? If I don't see that, then you can't get my vote as well,
April.
Well, and Alexandra is talking about what happened with her. Mitch Thrower is that candidate. And frankly, I think that the board needs someone right now with a financial background, someone that understands accounting and understands audits and things like that. And Alexandra, you're not in the race now, so you've thrown your support there. I think that's what the school district needs. I was there. I know what Hillsborough County school districts need. And right now they need someone who can hold the people that are in charge of the finances accountable. I supported Karen Perez because I believe that we needed someone in there who understood mental health. And, she got in there in the time that she did, because look at where our district has been. And she's been that person that's been standing up and fighting for mental health. So what is it that we need in that moment? That's the question too, is that we are in this ever changing society and it's growing in leaps and bounds. Even what's acceptable in society is changing from one minute to the next. The only thing that's constant is change. And so what is the candidate bringing to the table in that moment of our need as a people? That's
So
what I'm
good,
looking
April.
at. That's what I'm looking at, is the candidates that are pragmatic, the candidates that are willing to sit down and have a conversation regardless of party. It used to be a good thing to be able to reach across the aisle and get things done, because negotiation is both parties not getting exactly what they want. If one person or one party is getting everything that they want, then that means that somebody's losing. And we have gotten into a zero-sum game.
So good.
Not going to participate in anymore.
Look, you know what? I just recalled. The other day I was reading a post that Jane Castor posted, and you know who she was thanking? Rick Scott and Marco Rubio, about a grant that was given to the city to help the city. Listen, you're not going to do good for the country when you are divisive instead of trying to unite us. Abraham Lincoln said we were not going to be destroyed from the outside, but from the inside. And he said that a house divided will not stand. So if you think of yourself as patriotic and that you want to do good to contribute to your country, then one of the things you should be doing is seeking unity with your fellow countrymen and women. That's what you need to do, despite it's just smoke and mirrors. It doesn't really mean anything sometimes. Whether you're Republican or it doesn't mean anything, folks. Get a cause, one issue that you can agree on and work towards changing that. Even if you disagree with 99 things, if you agree with one thing, then unite with somebody of your opposite party and say, let's work on that together. Because you know what? People are more important than politics. At the end of the day, people are more important than politics. That's a human being. Try to find commonality. That is doing good for your country.
That's right.
Amen.
I can say amen too, Alexandra.
Amen.
Yeah.
So what do we think about an open primary? Do you think, Nina, with the research that you've done, or anybody can weigh in on this because we're coming down to the wire, but now that we're seeing this trend of NPAs, do we think that we might see an open primary system in the state of Florida in the next 5 to 10 years?
I would appeal way more than earlier than that. I'm hopeful.
You think?
I would appeal to the state legislature to seriously think about this issue and look at what's set in place now and what they can do to change that. And but check it out. If more folks who are NPAs get elected to the state legislature, guess what? They'll be able to look at that more, and I'm sure we'll see it. And I would predict way sooner than that. I would hope so. So I'm hopeful in my prediction that it'll be way sooner than that.
And let NPAs vote in primaries too.
That is correct. That's exactly right. Yeah.
You agree with that, April?
I do. Yes, I do. I think part of my success in the past was the fact that I was in a position where Democrats and Republicans could vote for me, because I represented the people. I didn't represent one party over the other. I will say that I fought for principles that I believed in, but people knew what my principles were before they elected me.
Which is awesome.
Right. Right.
Okay, well, we have 2 minutes. Thank you for those of you who have watched this evening's broadcast. You're awesome, Alexandra. Anything that I can do to support you in your future political pursuits, aspirations, I'm only a phone call away. Same as you, April. Remember, folks, also, just because you're not the victor in a race doesn't mean you're necessarily a winner, because there are some, I believe, people that are not really winning, even though they're in office. So, make us proud. You're supposed to be a public servant. Public servant, read the scriptures, what that means. Jesus at one point said, go kneel and wash each other's feet. And Peter was like, what? I'm not going to wash nobody. But that's what it's about. If you're a servant, that's what you do. Could you imagine going into somebody's house when they invite you over for dinner, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, go to the kitchen and start cooking and start preparing the table. And no, you're supposed to serve guests. And that's the whole idea. You're supposed to be humble and serve, and not think about, money, now I have title, I lord it over people.
Right.
That's how it works in a system where you're not really doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it for self-service, not serving others. So check yourself.
Agreed.
You wreck yourself when
Yeah,
you to say that you're running for office. Are you running for you, or are you running for the people?
Exactly.
Because that's what the spirit and the intent should be.
Yes.
We have 1 minute, April. You're not
I was
a mean girl. You're not a mean girl, April. You're not. I thought there were rumblings about, before I got to know you, that you were, and I thought, ooh, they're saying she's a mean girl. I don't know. But you know what? I'm glad that I took the time and not just heard rumors. Folks, stop talking behind people's back.
Yeah.
That's gossip. It's not due process. It's not righteous. It's not godly. It's not of integrity. Tell people, you want to talk to me about this person? Let's go talk to that person, us three, about that person, so that they can be with us to defend themselves. That's cowardly when you talk and you try to tarnish somebody's reputation. None of us like that.
Right.
None of us. So stop talking about people and get to know them.
That's right.
And make your own.
Thank you, Haiti, for giving me that chance to talk.
That might be inspired because somebody has an axe to grind, or they don't like it. They have some type of agenda where the strategy employed is to destroy that reputation for their own purposes, nefarious purposes.
Right.
You're not a mean girl, April. None of us are perfect. I'm sure you get on some people's nerves. I get on a lot of people's nerves.
I get on nerves.
You know what? And you know what?
We're all guilty.
I'm gonna be me. I'm free to be me. I have my good days, my bad days. I can be savage. I could be sweet. You pick. You pick. But my heart is in the right place. And if everybody loved me, that would scare me. If I didn't have an enemy, I'd be worried. I would be worried.
I had a general one time tell me that I was, and this was a very powerful man, and had seen things that, thank God, none of us have to see. But he told me that I was a necessary stimulant. And I love that term. I did.
Yeah.
Oh my word. We've
It
been
was
told all
Pearls are made
types of
from a
things.
stimulant, right? Pearls come from a stimulant, and they're
That's right.
yeah.
That's good.
I
That's
love
so
you,
good.
Nina.
Love you too, sis. Love you.
Alexandra, you're awesome.
Nice to
April,
meet you,
you
Alexandra.
Thank
you are not a mean, but if you have to be mean one day for the right reason, then I'll be savage and mean. It'll be savage and mean.
April,
Thank you
great
for
to see
joining.
you again.
you too,
Uh,
Nina
here,
and
Thanks
Nina.
for having me
Alexandra.
on.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
those
Nice
of
to
the.
see you guys. Thanks for having me on.
This was fun, ladies.
Next, I want you back on soon. I want you back on, and whenever you can come on, that you are interested in the subject matter that we'll be discussing. It's going to be awesome to have you on again. For those of you who watched tonight, thanks for joining and spending an hour with us. Haiti Oropesa with Florida You Judge. Till next time, and have a great evening, and love one another. Love
Yes.
one another.